Alrighty, good morning everybody. It is Friday, January 7th, 2022, and we're going to get started here with our pre-market analysis on the S&P 500 futures market. So let's take a look at what happened here yesterday. We were down in, let's see, we had the big sell-off at the end of yesterday, just after the FOMC minutes came out. We got a spike back up into the daily range, and then the failure down, and that brought us into the overnight session, which then brought us into yesterday morning. And what we said yesterday was it was pretty much we had to wait and see where the bull's going to break out to the upside, or where the bear is going to continue to take control and continue to sell off. And when we came in and we did our pre-market, we said first things first for the bulls. If the bulls are going to be strong, we're probably going to, we will have to break through the overnight high, which was up here at 47.03. And then remember, I said the first level of potential resistance, it's over here. It was highlighted a few days ago. We were watching this area from the upside. This was our first expected area of resistance. And let's look at what the market did. Oh, look, it came right up to it and failed, and that was our day. So came right up. It broke the 03, so that might have been our first clue that maybe the bulls were going to come up and test some of the highs. And of course, they faked everybody out and sold it all the way down, broke the low of the overnight session, which was our line in the sand. But remember, we talk about peaks below or peaks above. That doesn't qualify as a break below. We would want to see the price actually get below there, hold, and start doing stuff, not come down here and bounce out. So this was a little fake out for anybody that was feeling bearish there, and then they brought it back up. So they kind of faked the bulls out right out of the open, taking it higher, faked the bears out, trying to break that low, making it look like we were potentially going to go lower, and then they came right up. And where did they fail? What was the high of the day? The very first level that we told everybody was going to be trouble. And then that is basically what happened. It failed, and now we are stuck here basically in the range of, we are not basically, we are in the range from yesterday. Okay, so pretty much it's the same situation. We haven't been able to get out of this area. Okay, this level down here, we said a lot of bullish arguments from there. So ideally we would hold there, and sure enough, they came down, peaked below, and held, right? So we've got that. And now we're basically, like I said, if you were here yesterday morning, we have the same exact scenario, because we never broke out to the upside of the range, and we never broke below the bottom end of the range. And so every level that we determined yesterday is still in play today. In fact, this level, the first level we said would be trouble yesterday. This level here, now that it's been tested, we might want to consider some of the deeper levels or levels higher above us up here if they do push through that level now. We talked about, let's see, essentially this area here, and then just above it coming up into this eye level around 29. Maybe a little bit of a range above that, and then a little bit deeper. We talked about this swing low up here that really hasn't been come up to, cleanly been tested once we've broken through appreciably and came back. So that level there is a prediction point today. So we've got just, 47, 48 quarter there. That is really sticking out to me. And then if we can get up through there, the next level of contention, I would think, would be right around, we talked about this yesterday, that 61.8 retracement of the whole push down here was sitting right at this area, or this area of structure where we find a lot of support in the market. And again, it was sitting here pretty much in alignment. Let me go ahead and see if I can redraw this. And it's F12. So this whole little chunky area right here is essentially the 60 bottom end of that range is the 61.8. So we talked about this yesterday, potential to hold, but what I'm also looking at is the fact that we do have this swing right here that really hasn't been tested cleanly. That one that bounced out, and then we came down and broke through. So that happens to be a prediction point as well. To the downside, and again, I'm pretty much just repeating the very same analysis that I did yesterday morning. So it might even make sense for you guys to go back to yesterday's video on my YouTube channel and just watch that. And it's pretty much exactly the same thing. So getting down below the previous daily low, which is where we had that little peak below and bounce out, getting below there. Remember, we said once we get through that level, 46.68, and I don't mean a peak below, but once we start to break below it for real, that opens up plenty of room into that 46.40 area, which I told you yesterday was where I would be targeting a short if we came down and broke 46.68. And so, it never happened. It came down, peaked, and went back up. But that was what I was targeting. So on top of that, we have a couple other levels to watch. We have, the major chop zone I'm looking at is down here, again, around that 40 area, 46 down to 25. And a little bit deeper would bring us right into this CP at 46.06. So let's go ahead and jump up to the ultra high time frames and dial down and just see if there's anything else. I really don't think this morning it doesn't even make sense to do a whole pre-market for this morning because it's basically the same thing as yesterday. So quarterly still looks strong, and then we said our monthly, our weekly, and our daily, they had very clear bearish signals up top. However, we were in this situation where we had a bunch of bearish stuff up top, bullish stuff on the shallow pullback, even on the high time frame. So it was really kind of a question of who was going to win in that battle, and then we got the break. But now we talked about this yesterday, a potential bullish divergence on the pullback. Now, there's something really interesting to bring up here about this pullback. And so in 1 second, we're going to jump down to the shorter time frame and take a look. But let's go ahead and redraw this to the low, which ended up being 46.62. And for some of you, if you've got a razor sharp memory, you should remember that 46.62, 63 level from something. And we're going to go into that in just one moment here. But nice bullish divergence from the low. Ideally, this next daily candle, which we're going to, build up today, breaks above the high of the previous day for the sake of this bullish clue. So if we can get up through previous daily high, we'll get a confirmation of the potential bullish signal. So that's something we'd like to see this morning for any type of bullish case. But we got that potential going on there. And then we did have on the 4 hour as well the bullish argument, remember, from the low that essentially held on this little peak below that level. Remember, this was, like I tell you, a lot of times I do believe that what they're doing is they're getting everyone on the sell side and then they bring it right back up to fake people out. So when they did that, we did not get any type of regular formation in RVI. It's essentially another divergence. So you can see we pushed lower in price, but the RVI, there's not even a peak to compare it, and it's higher anyway. So got another divergence off that low. So we can redraw this, and again, with a daily and a 4 hour signal from that low, typically, if there's going to be follow through, could be pretty protracted and could be a pretty good push. So we want to kind of keep that in mind. If we do start to get some follow through, there could be a pretty strong push. Vice versa, if they can't hold it, then we're going to jump lower. Now keep in mind, and I have to always kind of put this disclaimer out, when I say they need to hold this level and you see them come down and it breaks and then they come all the way back up, that's not breaking the level. That's like this yesterday. We wanted them to hold 68. They came down, peaked below it, and then came back. That's not what I care about. I want an actual break and some type of stuff going on below it, right? So this morning, again, holding that low or coming down and teasing a little breakthrough and coming back is a indication that the bulls should at least come up to test the highs from yesterday, if not break through, which would be that ideal scenario. Again, from this daily perspective, seeing the bullish divergence from the low of yesterday, now we want to get through the top end of that candle. So I said I was going to bring up this low that we made yesterday and what the significance of it was. And I said that maybe if you had a good memory, you would remember that number 4662 or 4663, because we specifically said yesterday, if you put a fib up for this leg, we came down and I told you we bounced a few points in front of 4663, which was the exact 50% retracement level. What's interesting to note here is that we came down and they broke the low at 68, came down to 63 to the tick. I'm sorry, 62 to the tick and bounced out. So literally it's almost like they didn't feel complete. They're like, we missed that 50, let's go back down and actually tag it. And again, I'm sure there's nobody sitting there saying that, but it's just kind of funny. So that's where we're at today. 4 hour and daily showing still the potential bullish signal from the lows. And we do have a little bit of that subsequent bar bearish argument from the highs from yesterday. But we don't have a nice clear like local divergence or something. We have just that subsequent candle situation. And then on our 60-minute, we do have some bearish stuff going on off the highs in the overnight session, but not necessarily a nice, strong bearish divergence from the previous daily high. So there's not a huge confluence of bearish signals from the previous daily high, but we do have some pretty good arguments for the bulls off the lows. Again, we're going to have to see who's going to win out here. Is there a little bit more weight for the bulls off the previous daily low? Yes. But that doesn't mean that there's a 100% guarantee that means we're going to break out to the upside. But we do want to keep in mind the daily, the 4 hour, the 60-minute, and then if we look at the 30-minute, they do have pretty clear bullish divergences from the low of the day. And then again, from the 60-minute and higher, we don't really have a nice strong bearish signal from the previous daily high. So this morning, the idea is, and let's bring up the slightly higher time frame here so we can get the bigger picture. The idea here is we need to break out either through the previous daily high to get some type of momentum to the upside, or a break back down lower. And like I said, that opens up some targets that we have to the downside. Still, really interested in that 40 area. There is a swing high around 46.46, but then just below that there's a lot of structure right around 46.42 area. So I am watching that. And then up above us, it's anyone's guess. Even if the bulls are strong, again, there's potential scenarios they could come right to a level like that and fail. They could always come up and play around and eventually come back up to the all-time high. We really don't know. So we just have our levels, and we'll see what the market participants do, what the momentum is, and again, jump down onto our nice little short time frames here and jump in for some good trade entries. So that's where we'll leave it for anyone watching out on YouTube. This video was probably 10 minutes too long. Like I said, if you just watched yesterday's pre-market, all the levels we talked about are still in play, and the scenario is exactly the same. We need to get out of the range of the last day and a half. Take care. See you tomorrow. Or actually, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Take care.